Welcome to Real Lessons on Real Estate, and my special guest today is Ed Novak, managing partner.
No.
Manager of Century 21 Heritage Group. Welcome, Ed, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do a podcast with me. I'm really excited to see what we have to talk about today.
Thank you very much. I look forward to this chat.
Good. So tell me, Ed, when we get started here, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what you do and how many agents you have, so that many times when I'm teaching people, they ask me, what brokerage should I go to? What do they offer me that's different from somewhere else? So now what I really do is say, here, watch all my podcasts, see who you like, and then give them a call and go for an interview. So tell me how you stand out from the crowd and what it is you do over at Century 21 Heritage Group.
Well, I got a call from Century 21 Heritage Group to see if I would join them as an agent. In my conversation with the general manager, I said basically, I don't need coaching. I could coach myself, and I have management experience and everything else. And he said, "Oh, would you like to have a chat?" So we met up. We had a conversation, and they offered me a management position. So I'm managing the Thornhill office of Century 21 Heritage Group. Overall, the brokerage is approximately 800 agents. My office is
800 just with Heritage?
Just Heritage Group, yeah.
Big brokerage.
Yeah, big brokerage. I myself manage approximately 300 agents.
That's still a lot of agents to manage.
It is still a lot of. Well, I actually used to manage right at home, Don Mills' office,
Okay.
and I grew that office from 1,200 and change agents to over 1,500. So I was managing just in that office alone was over 1,500 agents.
Wow, that's huge for you.
Yeah, so I'm familiar with managing a large number of agents.
Mm-hmm.
Here at 300 is just as busy, because this is a full service brokerage. So the real focus is on support, coaching, mentoring, providing tools to generate leads, and CRM, a lot of different tools, a lot of different features that many brokerages offer, either for a payment or free, but altogether taken, what we offer, I haven't seen another brokerage, to be honest with you. Now, I don't claim to know all the brokerages, but from what I've seen, we have a really intensive focus on educating the agents and supporting them throughout the process of being a realtor. And what really intrigued me about Century 21 Heritage versus other brokerages I've been with and managed is that the focus was not on recruiting agents, just recruit as many agents as possible. That is not a focus. The focus of Heritage Group is to help them, is to take existing agents and help them double or triple their income. Okay?
Good
so it's the
approach.
focus. So we offer the tools that generate leads for the agents. We don't generate leads and then distribute them to agents. We provide the tools, we teach them how to use them, and we want the agents to build their own business.
Of course.
Okay? And that's the focus, and that's what really attracted me to Century 21 Heritage Group. Just for that reason, when I was told, yeah, recruiting is great, but let's focus on making who we have more productive, I was actually floored. I was surprised, and
I'm surprised at this moment when you're telling me this.
it was. I was like, wow, like I've never heard that, and it was amazing to hear and to see, and really that's what we've been doing today, and continue doing that. And every time, the focus is always something new, more technology, more coaching, more education, more support, and that's ongoing focus of our brokerage.
So give me a short idea, like a very short idea. If I was a new agent just coming out of real estate school, and I deal in my industry, I deal with two different types of agents. I deal with ones straight out of school, And I also have a lot of agents that I train that are quite successful but want to up their game. They want to earn a lot more money. So if I was just getting out of real estate school and I was looking to join a brokerage, you know, I know it's way too lengthy to talk in detail in a podcast, but give me a quick synopsis of what would my first day or my first week at Heritage Group look like?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, the education provided to realtors, new realtors, is simply a focus on ethics and some of the law, but it doesn't teach you how to make money in this business.
Correct.
And that's the toughest part. And this is why, you know, only I would say 15 to 20% of the agents out there make actually income in this field. So what we do is that when we have a new agent, even if they come from another brokerage and don't necessarily have not a high producer, just an average producer, a low producer, the steps are the same, even if they're new. So the focus is we go through orientation, we show the tools that we provide, help them create accounts for everything, set up the passwords and everything else. And then we have a program where we have, it's a quick start program, 6 online courses with multiple modules within each one that focus on the core systems that we provide, doing a business plan. We always require a business plan from an agent because they need to know where they're going and how they're going to get there. Then we teach them about listing presentation, buyer presentation, how to do your first deal, and so on. So it's a 6-step program, you might say.
Wow.
But within each one, there's multiple steps.
Correct.
It includes FinTrack and all kinds of things. Okay,
Well,
so
that's good though, because you're absolutely correct. When you're getting out of the OREA courses right now, you're just arriving clueless. You're just coming clueless.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm training a young lady right now in private coaching who's in her 7th year of real estate and had no concept how to fill out a listing form. Only dealt with buyers for 7 years, never had a listing, and all of a sudden last week got a listing, and I wasn't sure what was going on. I was walking by and I'm like, "Are you okay?" No.
that is nothing unusual. That is nothing unusual. And also, so to that fact, so not only do we teach the agents how to do all of those steps, but and so they can be self-sufficient, but we also focus, we are a true full-service brokerage where we will actually upload the listings for the agents, we'll do up their offers, we do a lot of the paperwork and make sure that it's all done correctly, and there's nothing missed. So our front desks are trained to do these tasks. We want the agents to focus on actually selling, go see the clients, do your presentations, make the deals. Let us handle the administrative stuff, the nonsense of paperwork and all that stuff. So
that's becoming rare too, because everybody's really into the brokerage in the cloud today. You know, there's nowhere to go, nobody to turn to per se, really. If there's issues, like I'm a veteran realtor of 35 years, and I need to tell you, I have never broker loaded a listing, and I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
I depend on those front girls to do that service, those services for me.
Exactly. And so this is how we are as well. And we have realtors who have been with us since the brokerage was formed in 37 years ago. So we have agents from day one. They're still with us, heading into retirement gradually. But yeah, they're not into doing that. We handle that mundane stuff for them. Okay, and we have systems actually, like, whereas if an agent is, like, you know, there's cheat sheets for everything, and I'm sure as you have in your brokerage, if you need the front desk to do an offer for you, we have an online form where an agent, if they're on the road and the client says, I want an offer on this house, and let's say it's offer date tonight, and you don't have time to get back home or to the office and do up the paperwork, you can actually do it from your phone, fill in some blanks very simply, right on your phone. Take you 10 minutes.
Fantastic.
Click submit. If it's done within an hour of our closing, the paperwork will be done.
Perfect.
And then sent to you for review. You send then out to your client for signatures. Done.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's the way I always did real estate. And you know, when people talk to me about the big cloud, I'm impressed with them because they can manage it. And in my world, that's a very kind of scary environment because I'm so used to having, you know, people in an office. And I go to work every single day. I don't work from home, so I think you become more dependent on that front desk at that point in time.
Of course you do, but I find these cloud brokerages, online brokerages, they're not providing the support, they're not providing the coaching, there's no mentorship, there's no community. So when I run my office, it's not just about the initial coaching and then ongoing support. I answer my phone basically 24/7, and there's another manager in the office to help me out as well. So we're there to help the agents no matter what time of day or what day of the week it is. But that's pretty standard stuff to me. And we do also coaching, very focused coaching. But I also do events in the office where it builds a community, a family, a sense of family. It's interesting what I find in our office is how closely agents are working with each other.
That's also beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's not teams. They're not competing against each other.
Mm-hmm.
They're working, and I'm actually amazed how many of them do deals together.
Nice.
I do, breakfast meetings every week. We have some sort of training. I invite outside speakers as well. So there's always something ongoing in the office. And these days, especially since the pandemic, most offices you find there when you go into an office, it's quiet, right? So physical offices are quiet, and very little action. You'll have a couple of people here and there, whatever, doing something, but it's quiet. You walk into my office and you go, what's going on here? It's a zoo, right? There's always people. They're always talking business, and it's very relaxed. It's a fun environment, and like I said, everybody just works together, and it's a sense of community and almost like family.
That's great. That's really, really great. I think a lot of that is missing in the industry.
Yes, absolutely. My agents don't compete with each other.
Good.
Okay.
Really good.
They work together.
That's awesome. I back 35 years ago, going forward, that was the norm. Whether you were from the same brokerage or a different brokerage, we worked together to get a deal done. And once they brought a buyer representation in, that sort of just ended that, where everybody felt it's a competition. We can't share information. We can't try together to make a deal happen. And I think that's a bit of a struggle for people too.
Yes, absolutely. And what I find is that agents who work with in these no service or limited service or discount brokerages, online brokerages, they are not focused on helping agents succeed. Mm-hmm. They're focused on making themselves profitable and provide as little as possible to the agents because that costs money. So you only pay a little, this is what we provide. And it's nothing, it's just putting your license with a brokerage and that's it. And then you don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And
I couldn't agree with you more, because that's why I came up with the Real Estate Rockstar Academy, because I would be the agent in the office all the time, people coming knocking on my door every 2 minutes asking me, help me Lorraine, help me with this, help me. And I thought, wow, like nobody is learning anything that they really need to become a successful realtor. And you can be a realtor, do 2 deals, 3 deals, 4 deals, but you're not going to be really successful without educating yourself once you're in the industry.
Well, yes, and the worst thing I think is when you have maybe 2, 3, maybe a handful of agents in the office, and then you have a newer agent or doing something they're not familiar with. Who do they reach out to for help? Is another realtor in the office. Biggest mistake. I've seen agents like really make a mess of paperwork and get themselves into trouble.
Oh boy.
With RICO, and so I always discourage, and I keep an eye on these things. I invite agents to reach out to me at any time, whether they have a question or they need help with something. That's what the support is about.
That's good.
I even had an agent, and she has struggled a little bit with English, a bit of a language barrier, and she was working on a commercial lease, and she wanted to do an offer. So I provided a set of clauses. Like my background is I've done pretty much every type of real estate transaction out there, so I know how to. I've done a lot of commercial business, so I telling her this is what you got to put together. Then she comes back the next day and shows me the offer she prepared, and it was like 3 or 4 pages of a schedule missing. And I said, well, where are the rest of the clauses? She goes, I didn't know what they meant, so I took them out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a good way to, not a proper way to conduct business, but this is where, as the management at Heritage Group, we come in. This is what we do: is we support them, and we have multiple managers, so we pass it around, whatever the expertise is, and and this is how we make sure that our agents stay out of trouble and make some money.
So tell me why you went from selling into management. What made you make that switch? Because that's a big hat to wear. It's a lot of people in your brokerage to be looking after, no matter how many managers there are. I know where I am, the phone is ringing constantly, and I think if I was a manager, I'd be pulling my hair out. So I'm always kind of interested on, what makes you make that transition?
I can't say, in all honesty, that I've fully transitioned. I do have my own client base, and I do the occasional deal.
So you're a selling manager, but you're still managing a lot of people.
But I am managing a lot of people. My focus is management, not selling. So basically, I fell into management. I used to have my own brokerage. I sold that, and then a number of years later, I was approached by Right at Home to manage their office. So they came to me. Somebody spoke to them.
Right.
They were looking for a manager, so they came to me. At that time, I was going through a divorce, and the notion of regular paycheck really appealed, because, as you know, in real estate, 1 month is high and next month is dry. So it's up and down, and that sense of regular paycheck appealed to me. So I took on that position, and they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So and one of the requirements was that I can continue to sell. So I worked with Right at Home, and continued selling as well. Very little, again, just my own client base, and managed that office. When I left Right at Home, I sort of went back into sales, and then when I got a call from Century 21 Heritage Group, that was again one of my requirements is, listen, I got my own client base. I am not willing to give it up. It took me years to build that, and I have clients who depend on me. They trust me. There's a level of loyalty that cannot be replaced or replicated, and they depend on me, and I depend on them. So it's a combination of things of, I will manage the office. I'll put my time in, but my free time is my free time, and I'm going to continue to sell. And that was the deal that we made. So, and I actually find it really beneficial to be a selling manager. I know what's going on out there. I know what the market is doing. I have a truer sense of. Well,
you've got a pulse right in the market because you're out there, and I agree with that too. It's one of the reasons I don't believe in trainers that don't sell real estate, because I think, how are you training me on this when you don't know anything about what we're doing, really?
Well, as they say, those who can't teach.
Well,
right?
Yes. I agree with that to some degree.
To some degree. I'm able to teach. A lot of what I teach is based on personal experience. And that's, and again, I was lucky enough to be involved in various types of real estate business. And I've had people, I had what I call a team, but not a team in the sense of agents. I had a team that backed me up, whether it be inspectors or it be lawyers. Perfect. And so on. Somebody could give me the knowledge that I lacked, and also not just said do this, but actually explained. So my knowledge is deep, and that experience that I've gained actually myself, I share with the agents, and I enjoy it, and I love seeing the results. I love seeing agents succeeding and doing very well, and overcoming objections, overcoming issues, overcoming hardship of being a realtor, and succeeding. And
I really enjoyed that too. I love to see them succeed. Yeah, me too.
Absolutely love it. Yes.
Yeah, me too. It's a really good feeling when you see that your hard work and effort paid off, and somebody reached that goal that they've been struggling for so long to get to and never been able to break down that barrier. It's a great feeling.
It's a great feeling. It's not just helping agents succeed in business-wise, but also on an individual basis. As an example, like I had an agent had a deal. It was a firm deal, and all of a sudden, the seller had a mental breakdown and was basically attacking the agent for mistreating her and forcing her to sell the property, and all kinds of accusations and name calling, and it was brutal. She came to me and said, like, crying, absolutely bawling, like, what do I do? The agent came to me and I said, well, okay, calm down, stop crying, and this is what you're gonna say, this is how you're gonna deal with this. She's told me off and she doesn't want to see me. Calm down. Just repeat after me. And we had to go through this cycle a couple of times, me telling her what to say, how to say it, how to do. She came in the next day basically dancing. Not only was everything smoothed out and the deal was going forward beautifully, there was now a new relationship. The seller absolutely loved the agent, was hugging her, kissing her, and in fact gave her a referral.
Good.
So these are the types of things that I enjoy, and makes me appreciate what I do.
Good for you. Good for you. I love to hear those kind of stories. So what advice would you tell somebody that said to you today, Ed, I'm going to go out now and I'm going to get my real estate license? What would you tell that person today?
If somebody is just thinking about getting a real estate license, I always warn people, keep in mind this is not an easy business. This is one of the toughest jobs out there. It seems like it's easy and you can make a lot of money. But when you have, only 15-20% of agents make 80% of the money, that means the rest are not producing. And it's not for everyone. It's a lot of hard work. It's a dedication, it's focus, it's commitment, and consistency. You cannot just say, yeah, I'm going to do this, and then, I'm going into this because it gives me the freedom, I can do whatever I want, I have a lot of free time, and yet I can make a lot of money. Not true, okay? You're basically working when everybody else is at home enjoying themselves, and money is not guaranteed.
Definitely not.
Your ability to earn is subject to
Your
market
commitment.
forces, your commitment, what you do, how much you invest, and what you invest. It's not just investing money, but it's also investing your time.
Oh, for sure.
And you're investing your family. I remember when I was going years ago, I was going for my broker license. It was the classes were held at the York University, and on a Friday during lunch break, we were outside, hanging outside, a bunch of guys, and they said, we're talking about the business generally, and I said, listen, I go, this is not business for somebody with a young family. And they sort of just looked at me and said, why? I said, because you're working on weekends, you're working evenings. It's tough when you have little kids, because I had my own kids when I was going through this business. And I said, it's toughest in a young family because you're not there. You got to work when everybody else is not working, and it's tough. And on then the following Monday, we're back out again outside during lunch break, and one of the younger guys in the class turns to me and says, "You know what you said on Friday was absolutely true." I'm like, "What did I say?" "Oh, it's tough in young families." And I laughed and said, "What happened?" And he said he was out on a Saturday doing showings in the middle of the day with his clients, and his wife was at home with a 6-month-old and a 2-year-old, I believe, and she called him up, and she is bawling, crying, and yelling at him, calling him all kinds of names that she'll not repeat, and saying, "You're out there, and I'm stuck at home with the kids." So that's what it's all about, right? It's tough. You have to sort of decide what you want to do. Now, a lot of people do this part-time and they find some success, but again, it's being able to network, it's being able to deal with people. Everybody has a different personality, different character, and different needs. So you got to be able to deal with all these differences, and also your own family and yourself, and be focused. Like in any business, without the dedication and sacrifice, you're not going to succeed.
No, you're not. You're not. And you're very correct when you say that, because I can't even count how many times I was going somewhere, doing something, and I'm not coming, there's an offer.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
I'm talking back in the day, no DigiSign, no DocuSign, physically at your home. I did an offer this past Friday, and I took an agent to the person's property, and he just looked at me like I was crazy. I said, "I want you to come with me. I'm going to go to their home and do this offer." And he was like, "At their home?" I said, "Absolutely. It's a lot of money. This is not where you just say, 'Hey, I'm DocuSigning this. Let's chat on the phone.' We're physically going to drive there, meet with the sellers, read every clause in this offer to them, and see what's going to happen." Shocking, because now, and I personally believe that we agents lack part of the whole referral process, because they're not spending enough time building a relationship with the person that they meet because of all of that technology.
Yes, true.
If you look back, I don't know how long you've been licensed. How long, Ed?
It's over 20 years.
Okay, so if you look back, you had coffee with the people, you had a cup of tea with the people, you chatted with the people. You weren't texting them, you were on the phone, you knew about their dog and their kids and their home, and everything was a referral-oriented business at that time. They loved you, you became part of the family, they
Exactly.
trusted you, and I still promote that to people. I still say, "Listen, here's how I feel about texting. There's certain times where it's okay, absolutely. I'm at the property, great. But if I want to tell you I've got an offer on your home and you want to know what's in that offer, I'm not texting that information to you. Pick
Yeah.
up the phone
Call.
and be part of that process." And I try to sometimes use different scenarios. For example, if you were going to get heart surgery, did you want a text message, or would you like to meet with the surgeon? It's the same thing.
Same thing.
You need to calm the person down. Right now, we're in a very volatile real estate market.
Yes.
Things are taking much, much longer than what we're accustomed to. You need to go over, meet with your seller, explain. It's not just your home. Let's take a look at the whole neighborhood. In fact, I did it on Monday. I pulled every property in that area for sale. How long? Let's talk about it. 68 days here, 62 days here, 53. See, you're okay. You're only on the market 42 days. Everybody's got to stay calm. But I personally find a lot of that is missing today, because people aren't talking to whether it's a buyer or a seller, the way that we used to years ago. And everything I know, I can only speak for myself, but everything I did years ago brought me referral after referral after referral, and I always call that free money.
Also, it used to be that we would pick up our clients and take them to showings.
Absolutely.
Now we'll meet over there. That removes the opportunity to connect with your clients, build a relationship that will translate into numerous transactions.
Yes.
And you're just you're missing a huge opportunity, and just having that conversation, you find out, just casually talking, you'll find out what it is they're doing, what are they looking for. And one of my agents just recently, in a conversation, in the car, because he picked up his clients, they realized, oh, you know what, why don't we sell 2 properties and buy some bigger house and an investment property. So it's like, there's opportunities that you will never find if you don't talk to people. Okay.
I totally agree with that as well. Totally. I think that technology is fantastic. We can do a lot of things with CRMs and all kinds of things out there, but I think the one-on-one with the client is still very, very essential. And I think going into the last half of 2025, these are just Lorraine's personal predictions, 2026 and 2027, if agents don't switch their mind from transactional to relationship built, they're going to lose out.
100%. I totally agree. But going back to the question about new agents and how difficult it is in the beginning, they need to plan not to have any income from real estate for 8 to 12 months.
8 years.
Right?
No, I'm just kidding.
8 to 12 months, and because most find some business relatives, friends in the first year, maybe, and then there's nothing because they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But having said that, how the difficulty of the businesses, and you're saying, you drop things and you go take care of your clients. I remember, I think my youngest daughter was probably less than a year, or maybe around a year old, and the oldest one was 3. I took my family up to Lake Nipissing for a week. 3 days into it, I had to leave them and return to Toronto to take care of my clients.
Yeah.
And that's what this business is about.
Oh, yeah.
It makes it difficult if you're overseas on a trip, but at the end of the day, you got to set something up where this can be handled, and strictly hoping that somebody's going to call you for business. Yeah, good luck with that. Okay.
I'm the same. When I travel with my girlfriends, they'll say to me, I'm always, the phone is always ringing. I come with computers, I come with everything. And they say to me, and you think this is a vacation? I go, but it is for me. And this is how the industry is. I can't tell somebody that I met, 6 days ago and put their house up for sale. I'm pretty much strictly a listing agent at this point in time in my career. I'm sorry, today you have to deal with somebody else. They're not understanding. Well, you took my listing. I'm going to do business with you. So I deal with them when I'm away, and I don't mind that I had to take 30 minutes out of the sun to go into my room and talk to you and help you through whatever that situation is, or whatever that offer might be, etc. And again, just going back to everybody in our industry has become very, very transactional, not building on the relationship aspect of this. And I always try to teach that I think every client you meet that you've done business with, a transaction with, buyer or seller, and again, speaking for younger people, you should be able to in your career do 1 to 8 transactions from that person. And if you're not working on building rapport with them, how will that ever happen? We go out, we purchase a home, deal's done, then I don't want to just say newer agents, because it's not just newer agents, it's a lot of agents. They're never heard from again. And these people wonder, what happened to my realtor? I love that girl, where is she? Teaching, again, the same thing. I tell everybody that I'm training, you need to be in contact with all of your past clients a minimal of 3 times a year. And even
more than that, once a month.
Well, that's phoning, but I physically go to them.
Oh, yes.
Whether I'm just dropping off a $20 bottle of wine, a Tim Hortons gift card, I want you to know that I still remember who you are. And I've been fortunate because I've built a business where now I've sold your children and I'm actually moving into their grandchildren. Makes me feel kind of old, but it's a great way to know that they still love you and trust you.
I always tell my agents is that you need to focus on relationships, creating relationships, building relationships, and maintaining them. Business will come on its own. don't focus on business, focus on relationships.
Correct.
Right? Once you have that, the business will come on its own. Now, it can come in spurts,
Of course.
and in waves, and that's okay. I remember one year, this is probably about 10, 11 years ago, for some reason, whenever everybody's busy, I'm not. When nobody's busy, I'm busy. And it was one of those years, and everybody's busy, and my phone's dead. Nobody's calling, nothing's going on. I was just wondering, somebody's worried if my phone is actually on, like if there's an issue with it. But there was nothing for months, I think maybe 6 months or so. And then I said, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to go on vacation. Once I changed my mindset, you know what happened? The phone, I said, I'm going to go on vacation, the phone rang. I go, okay, so I'll go the following month. And the phone rang again, and again, and again, and again. I ended up doing in 3 weeks, 13 transactions.
Beautiful.
Okay? And they varied from everything, from commercial to buying condos, selling condos. Like it was just a slew of everything. And I ended up working where I had whatever 6, 7 months of rest. Literally now I was doing working from 8 a.m. till 2 a.m. 7 days a week, and it was fun.
Yes, because if you love the industry, this is a fun industry.
I love the people, right? If you love the people, you work with them, and I've had the same clients for over 20 years. They have family members who are licensed. And I'm still the one doing the business.
Because they trust you.
They trust. It's the trust, it's the loyalty, it's knowing that it's not about commission for me. It's about getting a good deal for them or getting the maximum selling price, and just looking after them, taking care of them, remembering their birthdays, remembering their family members, okay? Being a friend.
Well, then you become like a small part of their family. That's why I don't believe in all of the texting and the non-communication. And I love to give this example. Sometimes when I'm teaching, I say to people, so here's my example of texting. If we don't do anything but text, booked you 3 houses, this is what they are, meet me here Saturday at 10 a.m. And we show the house, they go to the next house, we finish our showings, and this is what every agent is saying. So go home, talk about it, give me a call, let me know what you think. And I said, next thing you know, this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to get a text message, because this is all the people know about you, is that you're okay to text, that says, stop by an open house today, loved it, bought it. I know you're going to be happy I got myself a house. I said, but had you built rapport with that person, that wouldn't transpire. Because number one, you would have had the conversation saying, no matter what you see, you call me first and I'm going to help you with that. And even if you don't take clients in your car anymore, how about every time you show them homes, you meet at Tim Hortons, you have a cup of tea or coffee, talk about what you're going to see, show the homes, go back to Tim Hortons, talk about what you saw, and you go from there. Because now we're conversing. Half an hour in the beginning, half an hour in the end. Before you know it, I become your trusted advisor. Again, I think texting is great for short, little, quick messages, but I don't think you can build a real estate career on just texting.
No, you cannot. Not texting, not emails. It has to be a personal touch. I saw someone online say, be passionate about your clients. Now, they're also talking about, don't look at your competition. So I said, be passionate about your clients, not about your competition. So, and that's really what we're talking about, is where is your focus? Where is your commitment? What is your interest? If you focus on transactions, you'll not do anything. If you focus on your clients and those relationships, then you will succeed. It's a long-term game. It's not a short-term game.
Oh, very long-term game.
So the market doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, the market is irrelevant. Okay, people focus on the market. Oh, market's bad, market's good, whatever, right? Who cares? Who cares? Even in a bad market, people need to sell.
1,000%.
Okay, and there are people looking for deals, looking to buy. They have the money. Okay, I remember looking at listings from 1992. Okay, in a specific area. Every other house was power of sale.
Yes.
But so what? There's somebody buying them.
Well, somebody did buy them.
Somebody did buy
If we
them.
look at the demographic, there's still weddings every day, deaths every day, children born every day. We need a bigger home, estate sales, power of sales, whatever it is. All of that is doing the same thing over and over again. So the interest rate had a little blip. The whole world went insane. We can't sell anything anymore because the interest rate is up. Yet if we take the average interest rate over 25 years, we have an amazing interest rate still.
Oh, it's
And
incredible.
if you work the numbers just from 2 years ago, buying here and buying here today, and you adjust the interest rate, the payment is the same. But everybody's hung up on talking about that interest rate.
People are distracted by the media, right? And I read these comments and predictions by experts. Like my personal opinion is that I always say, as many experts as there are, that's as many opinions you're gonna get. Is one crystal ball better than the other?
No.
No. So who cares? Look at yourself, look at your business. Have you put in the foundation that's required for a business? Right?
Stay focused, keep working.
Stay focused, put in a good foundation, and then your business will thrive. It doesn't matter what the market is. I've spoken to an agent, one of our agents, one of the top agents from one of our other offices. This was at the end, I think it was either beginning of this year, beginning or end of last year. I said, "How's your year?" And last year was dismal as well. And she says, "Best year ever."
Perfect.
So people saying, "Oh, the market's bad. Nobody's selling. Nobody's buying." Lies. That means you're not doing anything. Okay, it has nothing to do with buyers or sellers. You're not there.
Well, exactly. You're not putting in the effort, and if the market is bad, then you really have to be prepared to do twice as much work to get that income. But there's still money out there for everybody if they're working at it.
Exactly.
You just have to be working. If we all sat back and said, "Well, nothing's going to happen. Let's all go home for the next year," I guess we all wouldn't make any money.
That's true. Yeah.
And the thing that I concentrate sort of on a little bit now is the fact that since January we've lost 6,600 agents. My prediction is that goes down to about 25,000 agents, in all honesty. And then we should be wearing roller skates because there'll be so much business for everybody out there that nobody's going to know what to do with it. I mean, right now statistics show that we're selling the same amount of homes to date as if we were 15,000 agents, and yet we're still 70,000 agents. But if we drop down to 50,000 agents, this is a lot more business. If that 25,000 agents only did one transaction a year, there's a lot more business to go around. So you should be hustling harder to keep your branding out there, keep your name out there, be in touch with everybody all the time. And I think another one of the biggest struggles, Ed, is that agents are afraid to ask for referrals. They're afraid to say those words. And yet it's just such a simple conversation. And I tell everybody at the end of your transaction, not the minute you shake their hand and say, "Congratulations, you got a home." When the time is right, of course you're going to ask for referrals. We work a referral-based business. They love you already.
Of course.
But some people, really there are clients, and I still come across them today, 35 years later, that will say, "Oh, I thought you were too busy to do that." Or I didn't realize you would go there to list another home. Tell them what you do so that they're going to call you.
I couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely.
See, we got to teach a class together.
We should. It is so invaluable. You always have to ask for business.
Yes.
If you don't ask, you don't get.
1,000%.
Right? But again, it's how you come across.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So if you have that relationship, just actually keeping in touch with people, reminding them that you're a realtor, right? Is imperative. Otherwise, there's no way of succeeding. It's like asking for business. Same thing applies to door knocking, cold calling, doing all the basic things that help you establish relationships with people, connect with people. I'm amazed by how many agents will say to me, door knocking doesn't work or cold calling doesn't work. And I'm like, but have you done it? And usually the answer is no, or I've done it. Then the question is, how many times? How many times? Oh, I've been out 3 times or 5 times. And that is not an indicator.
No.
You haven't done anything.
No.
You wasted a day or 2 or 3, but you have done absolutely nothing. And people say, oh, cold calling, people don't like it. Okay, that's your opinion. Now I'm going to ask somebody in their office who did over 300 grand strictly cold calling. Okay, you argue, you explain that to the other person that there's no business from cold calling.
I have the same conversation with people all the time about open housing. People will tell me, what a waste of time. Oh my God, took 2 hours out of my day, nothing happened. And I'm like,
they're not doing
my
it right.
conversion rate from open houses is exceptional. I will say I think it's exceptional. But again, it's about becoming a knowledgeable agent. If you're just walking around somebody's home texting all day long, chances probably are you won't be converting an open house attendee into a prospective client. But if you learn how to properly do an open house and you're door knocking before the open house and you know your competition and you know everything that's going on in the neighborhood, you definitely are going to make business out of open houses.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times new agents come to me and they want to do open houses, no problem. And I tell them, this is what my life is like. Sunday I have 7 open houses happening. And my phone at 2 o'clock blows up. It just blows up. I don't know the lockbox. How old are the windows? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, and you think you're a professional that you did not go pre-inspect that home so that you could have asked me anything in advance. You didn't know to get a lockbox code to get in.
Jeez.
You didn't know what's sold in the neighborhood. You don't know where the schools are. You don't know if you're on a school bus route. And you'd like to make $25,000 this afternoon. I don't understand it.
Absolutely.
I just don't understand it.
You know what? It reminds me of a situation which is not open house, but let me say somewhat similar. As you know, some agents do call them bank days or whatever. They team up with a mortgage specialist in a bank branch, and they spend a day there with the financial advisor and try and get some business. So this was a few months back. I walked into an RBC bank I normally don't deal with, and there was maybe 2-3 people ahead of me in the lineup, and I saw at the back of the branch a couple of agents with their the displays, billboards, whatever you want to call them, with their pictures and their names and claims of being top producers and all kinds of stuff, some pre-construction project as well, and so on. And I was in that line. I timed it on purpose. I was there 25 minutes. For some reason, it was taking forever. By the time I was leaving, the lineup was to the door. None of the agents ever came up to anyone in the lineup. What a waste of a day. I don't understand. Why did you get dressed up, haul all this stuff out to the branch, stand there, and all you're doing is taking selfies? Like, seriously?
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is all they were doing. I was in shock. Here's the business. Here's like 15 people you can talk to, maybe more. And you have done nothing. And then people like that complain, oh, there's no business, the market is bad, whatever. If a person was to come up with excuses not to do the business, that's the easiest thing in the world, and they'll come up with a million different excuses.
I agree with you.
Not to do the work, not to do the job. So, if they want excuses, fine. If they want to work, then work.
Exactly, because every person you meet is an opportunity to increase your business, and every time some other agent gives you an open house to do, I think that you should be really grateful. it's a minimal of a $25,000 opportunity for staying somewhere for 2 hours.
Talk to
And
people.
yet we're not educating ourselves before we get there, or we're not approaching the people in the bank, or whatever situation you're in. Same as with training. I always say to agents, you'll spend $3,000 buying whatever it is, 500 pens with your name on it, yet you don't pay to educate yourself. And after 35 years in the industry, I don't know anybody that got a deal because their name was on a pen. I'm still waiting to find someone. But they all have a pretty big egos when they come into the business. We like the big picture of ourselves and the whole thing. And they think that's the business. This is going to bring me money. They don't understand the hardcore door knocking and the constantly being on it. And yet if you do it, you will reap so many rewards down the line that you're setting yourself up for a great career for the rest of your life. And I say to people, we make more money than doctors, than lawyers, than so many very well-educated people, and yet we can come into this industry with barely any education. We can come in with a language barrier and still be making $500,000 a year, but you don't want to work at it. I'm confused. I don't understand.
I think the issue is a lot of people get into real estate thinking it's easy money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I think that's the mistake number one. It's not. It's one of the toughest businesses out there, and they say it's business, it's not a job, but it's a business. But if you do, and maybe it should be treated as a job, because if you don't show up to work,
Correct.
you're going to get fired, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a receptionist or you're an engineer, whatever, you don't come into work, you're done, right? So how are you not accountable to yourself? All you do is you come up with excuses. Oh, I had to drive my kids, or I had to do this, I had to do grocery shopping, I had to watch a TV show, I don't know, whatever the excuse is, there's always an excuse.
No discipline.
Zero. And that is why majority of agents do not succeed. And I think one of the things is, especially with GTA in Canada, we have a lot of immigrants that come into this country, and they may have degrees from their country, whether it be doctors, engineers, chemists, architects, and so on. They can't apply their degrees here. Mm-hmm. So what do? What they think is a easy way to start making money, they get into real estate, and they don't succeed. First of all, some people are just not designed to be salespeople, and some are. But even those who are you still need to put in the required foundation and the work and dedication and so on, right? So I think a lot of the immigrants are jumping into this thinking it's easy money, and it's not. And that's a mistake. I remember maybe about 10 years ago, I was comparing GTA and Treb, and the number of realtors in the greater Chicago area in the States, because the population is very similar types of cities. And I was in shock at that time. I think we had around 55,000 agents. Chicago had 13,500. And that's the issue. Okay, I think it became a situation where people are jumping into this thinking it's easy money, and it's a cash grab by Oria and Treb and all of them, right? Rico and so on, and that's fine. But nobody teaches them how to make money in this business.
Agreed, completely, like 1,000%. I agree with you. So before we wrap up today, Ed, my last question, and I ask this to everybody because I love the question. Tell me what you would tell your 20-year-old self today if you knew all of what you knew about this today.
CRM, talk to people, build relationships, network, just 100% dedication. That's if I was 20 years old and I wanted to get into real estate. When I was 20-year-old, 30-year-old, if you asked me would you go into real estate? I would have laughed in your face. I would have said, never in your life. Okay? I basically fell into this business. And
can I stop you and ask you how you got into the business? What triggered you to get into the business?
So years ago, I used to do IT consulting. Okay, so it was consulting at projects with Rogers and Nortel, which is gone now. Manulife Financial. Even went to England to work for Unisys. So I worked for a number of companies, and I was getting a bit burned out with the whole process. And I worked on one project that I don't think I saw daylight for about 3.5 months, 4 months, and said I need to get out of this. And an opportunity came out to actually work full time, become a manager at a startup. So I joined the company, and then all of a sudden I realized this company is not going to survive. So I was just waiting to be bought out, offered severance and to leave, which I did. But in the process, I met somebody who was a programmer in the company, developer, and I kept talking to him and so on. So when I left the company, he was let go shortly after that, and he said to me, and I kept saying, I need to get out of IT. He said, listen, a friend of mine has a business, he does short-term rentals. Keep in mind, this is before Airbnb was invented. It does short-term rentals, and I didn't understand what he's talking about. So he explained to me a little bit. So this guy, my friend, developer, was helping him maintain his website, did some development for him. So he said he has this business, but he's not operating 100% correctly. It could be done better. So I did a lot of research, did a business plan, and launched the company to do short-term rentals. Started with 4 condo units downtown, and grew the company to over 120 units in probably less than a year, maybe 6 months. And we're after Dell Suites, which is owned by Tridel, my company was number 2.
Beautiful, good.
In the process, I was dealing with condo owners, investors, and they were asking me from time to time, I want to sell, I want to buy, and I was referring that business out to agents, and I found that none of them were providing the level of service that I was expecting, because I demand the highest level of service, always, from myself and anybody involved with me in the transaction. And I found them, they were dropping the ball. They're not doing what I was asking them to do. So the decision was made to get a real estate license to look after just my own client base. There was no interest to do anything else. The real estate business took over my life. I was doing so much business, and it developed, I had a business partner as well, developed into land assemblies, development sites, and so on. And so we decided that, you know what, instead of paying a split of brokerage, we should have our own brokerage. So we ended up launching our own brokerage. It was a franchise, and then we got hit with 2008, the downturn, right? The economic collapse. Ended up selling the brokerage and moved on. But the other company I had, the rental company, I had sold. So that business led me into real estate. Now, had I ever, if you asked me before that, do you want to be in real estate? Never had any desire. Zero. Okay?
And now it's your life.
And now it's my life. And now I'm teaching it to others.
Good for you.
So,
good for you.
It is, life sometimes takes turns and leads you on the path that you don't expect. But if you make the most of it, then it becomes something you appreciate and enjoy. And I truly love the business. I love my clients. I love my agents. And I hope the feeling is mutual.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, it was a pleasure having you here today.
Pleasure meeting you.
On Real Lessons on Real Estate. And I wish you and your entire brokerage a very successful 2025. I love your story. I love your training story. And I'm definitely going to be keeping that in the back of my mind.
Sounds great.
Thanks for being here today, Ed.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. If you'd love to increase your sales and change the direction of your real estate career, visit us at www.therealestaterockstaracademy.com. Hope to see you back here real soon.